video by Film Theory. Hazbin Hotel is a scam. I'm a pretty big fan of Hazbin Hotel, despite all the drama that is currently going on with the creators and all the other stuff. I am someone that is able to separate the art from the artist. I will not be doing anything to, provide them with any form of monetary compensation or help support them in any way until I know all the details revolving the situation. But either way, I'm still a massive fan of the story, the musical, and Hazbin Hotel in general. So we're going to be watching. Film Theory. Hazbin Hotel is a scam. Which is interesting. I'm
lie
curious.
in Hazbin Hotel? A lot of the angels here in heaven believe that there's no way for a soul in hell to ever find redemption and join them in paradise. But, well, what if they need some redemption too? Hello, Internet! Welcome to Film Theory, the show that's a loser, baby, a loser.
I've been listening to
gosh
this song on
darn
repeat.
baby.
It's so good.
Whoa, sorry, don't know what came over me there. So, okay, loyal theorists, today I want to talk to you about Hazbin Hotel, created by animator Vivian Medrano, known online as VivzyPop. This was a show that I was aware of, but after a friend of mine got really into it and couldn't stop recommending it, I finally decided to follow her advice last year and check it out.
That's great. Separating the art from the artist is a pretty important skill that I feel like not enough people have nowadays. Oh, 100%. I can appreciate the art while finding ways to make sure that I'm not supporting the artist and making sure that they don't get any way from my appreciation.
And man, I loved it. If you don't know, Hazbin Hotel takes place in the Helliverse, a world where heaven and hell are real and all of the characters from the Bible are living, breathing people who just really love to get their emotions out through song and dance. However, hell is overpopulated, so once a year, an army of angels called the Exorcists are sent to destroy several of these souls for good. But our main character, Charlie Morningstar, believes that there's a more humane solution here. And yes, Morningstar as in the daughter of Lucifer Morningstar, the devil himself. See, instead of abusing her position as the daughter of the king of hell to hurt others, Charlie is a good person and believes that the souls in hell can be redeemed and sent
Worst case scenario,
heaven.
is the
So
artist
she
awful? I'd be sailing on the seas. Oh, trust me, I've been sailing the 7 seas since I was 7, you see?
The Hazbin Hotel to try to do just that, to, well, mixed results to say the least. It's a great concept, combining genuinely well-written songs, creative art direction, and a lot of adult humor into a show that has its own super unique identity that a lot of people really vibe with. I mean, there's a reason Amazon picked up the show after the pilot released on YouTube, and really, I knew I wanted to cover it because I just enjoyed it so much. Though the creators haven't really shied away from sharing tidbits of lore online or at conventions, they have been keeping their biggest cards close to their chest. And they clearly have plans that are going to be difficult to piece together with the information
7, I've been on there since the seas were first made.
The Helliverse has one of the most...
My brother, I was there when the seas were first made. I was one of the first on a ship.
Passionate fan bases I've
Have you heard of LimeWire?
seen in years, and they haven't solved everything yet. So, you know what? This one's for me, loyal theorists. I just want to have fun here and talk about a series I like. Will this 100% be what happens in the show? Almost certainly not. But maybe we can figure out something to theorize about here together. Because, I mean, there's just so much to talk about. What's the mysterious Alistair really up to? And what's up with his control over Husk and Nifty, my two favorite characters, by the way?
Wait. Hazbin Hotel Season 2 release date. Oh, this video is outdated. Oh, wait, no, it's 8 hours ago. Never mind.
Rosie, and how was she able to make Alistair so powerful all by herself? Is the Husker Dusk Nation ever gonna get their happy ending? All good threads.
You can't win. If you got there before us, we call you Unk, and if you didn't, we make fun of you for being late. I know. I don't get to win. I've already understood this.
Pull on. But what I want to talk about today is bigger than that. It's actually a theory that me and the team of writers here were putting together before Season 2 started up. And it has to do with the heaven here in Hazbin Hotel. Yeah, the paradise that everyone seems to want to get to seems a little off, doesn't it?
I do love that the universe of Hazbin Hotel and Hell of a Boss are interconnected, though. And that, like, there's references to Lucifer and to all different references to Hazbin Hotel within Hell of a Boss.
here aren't very nice, and arguably many of the denizens of hell probably deserve to be there more than the angels do. So maybe the heaven we see here isn't actually heaven. What if it's just another part of hell and everyone here also needs to find their own redemption? Oh yeah, this one's a little out there, loyal theorists, but it's gonna be a fun one. So shake
that. That would make a lot more sense. It would make sense if it wasn't for the fact that Lucifer is a fallen angel from heaven. And that's obviously, like, they all got the same design as him. If they had different designs, it would give this theory a lot more weight.
My hand and let's make a deal, friends, as we check into the Hazbin Hotel. Okay, so to get started here, let's talk about the conflict at the heart of this story. Like I said in the intro, Charlie wants to help save the souls in hell by teaching them to be good, so that they might be redeemed enough to enter heaven. But most of the people in heaven don't believe this is possible, and Adam himself is adamant that there's
I feel like the theory channels haven't really settled into the post-MatPat era properly yet. The pacing of the video is really off. It does feel a bit off, like MatPat really did a good job of explaining things and giving you some background information. This has just gone straight into it. And like, if you know nothing really about, like, I guess if you know nothing about the show, you're probably not going to watch it. But like, if you've been like, I don't know, there's definitely a lot of more information and introduction that he could have done here.
There's no way for a soul in hell to find redemption. This is basically the main discourse across season 1, with Charlie even going to heaven to debate the angels on this very topic. Here, Adam explains that he believes the best way to get into heaven is to
act selfless, don't steal, stick it to the man.
But when the group then watches Angel Dust, one of the hotel's patrons, do all 3 of these acts, he doesn't get redeemed and doesn't end up in heaven. Man, poor Angel. He's a good boy. He deserves the best. Anyway, this shows that Adam himself doesn't really know the mechanics of how all of this works.
Well,
in fact, no one really does. When Sir Pinchas, another resident of the hotel, is redeemed at the end of season 1 and arrives in heaven, no one understands how he
Honestly,
did it.
I'm getting the opposite of the vibe. It feels like a third of the video was a whole lot of nothing. It was slightly introducing it, but not really giving too much. Like, I guess it was sort of like a little bit of a tease, but yeah, I feel what you mean. It feels off.
Hell because of their diets. I mean, gluttony is a circle of hell here, but I think they probably could have avoided that with Groons, the partner for today's theory. Groons packs a lot into a small package. We're talking multivitamins, prebiotics, and green gummies all in one.
Yum.
Seriously, they've got 20 vitamins and minerals and 60 ingredients, which include nutrient-dense
That's always good.
foods, all of which you'll actually know the names of. No weird science words or crazy chemicals. We're talking stuff that you actually know and can pronounce, like kale.
All right. I usually wouldn't pause during an ad. I'd usually skip it or anything, but most of those crazy words and stuff like that, those are just like natural chemicals. Like, you'll find the same shit in apples. You'll find them in fucking carrots, bananas. Like, fuck. How many bananas do you have to eat before you die of radiation poisoning? Like, but like, yeah, I don't know. I feel like advertising it like that is really fucking stupid.
Spinach and blueberries, that sort of thing. Plus, you're actually getting the right dosages for this sort of stuff. Vitamins are at about 100%,
it's not bad,
and
just
minerals
a
at
lunch
around
of
25% of your daily allowance. Safe and healthy
100%.
amounts. And there's actually so much good stuff in here they couldn't
It's
fit
going
it
to take
into one
time. They're big shoes to fill, and at the end of the day, I don't think they're ever going to be able to do it. Like, they're never going to be able to recreate what MatPat did. They're going to have the people that are interested in the videos and like stuff like that. They're always going to have people that are going to be interested in whatnot. But MatPat was the heart of the channel. Like, it's hard to even watch this video without hearing his voice and it being him. Like, I pretty much fucking grew up with him, dude. Like,
so you get to eat a whole package, and they taste sinfully good. Groons are vegan, nut-free, gluten-free, dairy-free, use no synthetic sweetener or dyes, and come in either
so they're gonna
low
taste
sugar
like
or
shit.
sugar-free options. Basically, if you have a dietary restriction, they've got you covered, and you're not gonna be trapped in hell. And they can have real visible benefits too, boosting gut health, your immune system, and energy levels, and helping your skin, hair, and nail health. Trust me, you're gonna be chowing on these like Alistair and his finger foods. So if you want to eat some of this heavenly goodness, go check out Groons by using my link in the description or by scanning the QR code on screen to get up to 50% off. Thanks again to Groons for sponsoring today's episode, and let's get back into Hazbin Hotel.
It should have been like a, we're ushering in a new era like type thing. Like it isn't going to be the exact same as when I'm running it. Obviously, it's going to be something completely different. It's no longer my game theories. I'm still going to be here working behind the scenes and helping out with stuff. But at the end of the day, I'm not the theorist anymore. I'm not the one that does shit. He should have done it that way, like a handing over, passing of the torch, rather than a being like, oh yeah, no, I'm still here. We're both gonna hold the torch. Although, to be fair, I prefer Matt Pat's older content. This is closer to his more recent stuff. I completely agree. He got very Zoomer iPad baby baity towards like his later years. It was very fast paced, very ADD, very click 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 click.
Many in heaven don't believe it's possible or that it was a mistake with Sir Pinchus. And even going back to Adam, one of the angels in charge of heaven, Sarah, defends him by saying,
he was the first human soul in heaven.
So who's to say he's actually wrong? Maybe Angel just didn't redeem himself enough. Well, here's the thing. If you know your Bible lore, that comment right there should really stand out to you. Yeah, Adam shouldn't have been the first soul in heaven. According to the Bible, he is not the first person to die on earth. That is Adam's son Abel, killed by his brother Cain. In fact, Adam lives for quite a while after Abel's death, so if we're following Bible lore here, why would Adam be the first soul in heaven and not Abel? So, okay, they have the order of people showing up in heaven wrong, and no one is actually sure how this place works. The mechanics of getting into heaven? Already something's fishy here, but the more we look into this, the fishier it
really
gets.
missed the fun stuff like measuring Luigi's
heaven
bulge.
Doesn't seem very heavenly,
I like
does
it, yeah.
I mean, this one should be obvious, but Adam being the chief good guy of heaven doesn't really sit well because he is far from what the Bible describes as a good person. I mean, it's kind of one of the big themes of the show, right? Adam is selfish, he swears, he's lustful, he doesn't respect others, he refuses to offer forgiveness to those.
See, I feel like as well though, that's his humanity. He was the first human in heaven. He's gonna have an ego. He was like the chosen one. He brought about all of humanity. Obviously, he's gonna have a fucking ego about it, and he's gonna be in heaven the second longest compared to Abel. So, like, obviously, he's gonna act that way. Obviously, he's gonna be that way. He's not an angel. He's a human that went through the gates of heaven.
Who earn it. This version of the character we see here in Hazbin Hotel isn't the type of guy who really deserves a place in heaven, even by his own standards. And secondly, a lot of the beings we meet up in heaven might not exactly fit in either. When we first meet Sarah and Emily, the seraphim angels who help run heaven, they quickly transform into bodies that look very human. But before their transformations, they look a lot like humanoid birds. And also just so happen to look like another character, Stella, from another show set within this same universe, Hell of a Boss. Both shows are set within the Helliverse, so anything we see in Hell of a Boss is also canon and has been, and vice versa.
Oh no, he's actually making a good point.
Creatures in heaven that look like characters from other parts of hell. As St. Paul is showing Charlie around, we see a resident that looks like a spider, similar to Angel Dust, who is also a spider. There's also a wolf creature seen in heaven, like the Hellhounds seen in Hell of a Boss, and even Adam and the Exorcist helmets look a lot like the horns of imps. Now, sure, all of this could be a coincidence, or just a consistent art style from its creators, but that's a lot of character design showing us that the people in heaven and hell just aren't that different from one another, or that maybe heaven and hell aren't that different at all. Now, at this point, I was really convinced that we were onto something. Maybe heaven wasn't actually heaven, and it was actually a part of hell. That would explain why Adam's actually here and awful, and why he's said to be the first soul in heaven, and why Abel isn't in the show in season 1. He's actually in the real heaven. Like, for real, me and my team had this theory cooking before season 2 launched, and
yeah, I was gonna say that doesn't make sense because it's the Spider in heaven is Angel's sibling. Oh yeah, because didn't Angel murder? I'm trying not to do spoilers, but murder a family member for doing something to one of the other family members, from what I remember, or that's what's implied. But yeah, I was gonna say this entire theory falls apart because of Hazbin Hotel season 2.
I wanted to make it during that season, but then it came out and we ran into a bit of a problem. Yeah, it turns out Abel was here in heaven.
Yeah.
Hello, Abel here, son of Adam, rest in peace.
And voiced by Patrick Stump from Fall Out Boy.
Huh,
We
that's
love
sick!
some classic 2000s emo music in this house. But
I'm not sure about what
wait,
creator has said about
this
stuff.
doesn't really make sense because Adam still outlived Abel in the Bible, so wouldn't Abel still have been the first human soul in heaven? Yeah, this was a real head scratcher for me, and something is going on here, and I wanted an explanation. And, well, after thinking long and hard about it, I think we got one. And it all comes down to how hell is structured here. So you've probably heard the idea of the rings of hell before, and this doesn't actually come up in the Bible. No, instead, this is from
Dante's
everyone's
Inferno.
favorite Bible fanfiction, Dante's Inferno,
Yep.
which has kind of become the de facto way most people actually view hell. Within the Helliverse, we know that there are at least 7 rings of hell, 7 parts of this world more or less, stacked on top of one another. So far, only 6 of these have been officially named and seen: pride, wrath, gluttony, greed,
It's
lust,
pretty obvious
and
what the other
sloth.
ones are.
Presumably, the last ring of these 7 is envy, making each of these rings named after one of
Lust,
the 7
baby.
deadly sins. Now, the rings in Dante's
Well, I got the
Inferno aren't
7.
actually related to the 7 deadly sins. Now, there is some overlap, but heresy, violence, and fraud from Dante's Inferno aren't
Is
on the
how
list
it's
here for the
different, I think
Helliverse.
so.
Additionally, Dante's Inferno famously features 9 circles of hell, not
Yeah.
7. So, as a result, you might be thinking, hey, it's not a perfect match. Maybe Hazbin's just inspired by Dante's Inferno and leaves it there. And that would make sense, except for one small problem. 9 circles of hell were referenced in Hazbin's pilot episode.
What in the 9 circles makes you think a single denizen of hell would give about becoming a better person?
And Vivzipop confirmed that the lore present in this episode is still canon. So there are 9 circles of hell in the Helliverse, just like in Dante. We know that Hazbin Hotel takes place in the Pride Ring, so looking at the sins and everything else in Dante's Inferno, is there one of these rings that could line up with what heaven looks like here in the show? Well, yeah, actually. Within Dante's Inferno's many layers of hell, the worse a sin is, the deeper into the earth you'll find its ring. So lesser sins like lust and greed are towards the top of the rings, and their punishments aren't as intense. But further down, towards the bottom, you have violence, fraud, treachery, and their punishments are much, much worse. But above all of these circles, at the very top, there's one final layer, the least punishing layer of hell, limbo. Now, you've probably heard the word limbo before because it's everywhere in pop culture these days, but in Dante's Inferno, limbo has a very specific purpose and meaning. See, the topmost layer of hell is the closest one to Earth, and is basically reserved for people who weren't necessarily bad, but didn't meet the criteria to get into heaven. According to Dante, this mostly revolved around accepting Jesus Christ as their savior, and examples would be like children who weren't baptized before dying, those living before the times of Christianity,
Again,
or those
this
who had
is
no way of learning.
Limbo is easily debunked and proven that it isn't limbo. Fuck, I just lost my point. It isn't limbo because Serpentius. Does that mean that the progression is once you're in hell, if you ascend or whatever the fuck they call it, then you go to limbo? That doesn't make sense to me. Like, limbo is where you go if they're not sure, like pretty much where, if you're like, you're not good, you're not bad, you're sort of like, they don't know where to put you, so you're sort of just chilling in this weird little limbo place because you're not really either, or you're a bit too much of both. So it doesn't really make sense because we've seen Serpentius obviously go up to heaven, he's ascended, and I don't think you would ascend to limbo. Like, I don't know, it feels like it would be, there's like another step, so I'm not sure. I don't think this is a viable theory based on that.
About him. Like, you can't accept Jesus if you don't know he exists. Anyway, what's most important for us here is that, while this is a part of hell, limbo doesn't have any real damnation in Dante's Inferno. It's basically described as like an inferior
empty
form of heaven, where there aren't any punishments like torture or anything like that. And on top of that, check this out. According to the lore of Dante's Inferno, both Adam and Abel would be in limbo at the same same time, they were people from the Bible who lived before the time of Jesus, so they wouldn't have met the criteria to enter heaven. In fact, the character Virgil explains that he saw Jesus descend into limbo to save those worthy souls who died before being saved by Christ. Adam and Abel, yes, but also the likes of Moses, Noah, and Abraham. So it's very possible that what we're seeing here in Hazbin Hotel are events that take place before Jesus has come down to limbo to save anyone. That would explain why there are timeline inconsistencies and why people in heaven aren't necessarily the best. But even
like, okay, so like I feel like the bird thing doesn't
why
really
people
work
in heaven aren't,
because this is like, I feel like this is just the artist trying to be biblically accurate, like trying to make a biblically accurate angel while still making it somewhat thematic and still making it stylized. Because angels aren't fucking the winged beasts you see. They're these fucking creatures. And like one of them's a seraphim and shit like that. That's what they're meant to look like. So I don't think that it's the fact that they're a part of, that she isn't a Goetian. I don't think that they're Goetian, because that's the bird race that he was referring to. I don't think it has anything to do with that. I think it is actually heaven, but I think it's going to be something along the, it's going to be some sort of catch, like where it is before like Jesus's time, or it's before a certain time, because we don't know the rules of heaven. We don't know anything about it. We've met Lucifer. We know Lucifer was cast down. We haven't been told who cast out Lucifer. We're assuming that it's God, right? But we haven't been introduced to a God. We've been introduced to the high seraphim. We've been introduced to the seraphims, but we haven't actually been introduced to a God character. So it sort of like leaves a lot, I guess, open. But at the same time, I don't think, as someone who hasn't watched Hazbin Hotel but knows about that kind of shit because of Ultra Cool Lore, looks like it checks out to me. I've seen representations that kind of look like heaven at a first glance. No. Okay, yeah, no. And that, like, I can understand that side of the argument, right? But one of the characters sacrificed themselves and died to save another person who was in hell. And then he arose and ascended to heaven and had a halo and everything. Serpentius. So in heaven, we'll do heaven for now, right? If it is limbo, are you saying, like, does that mean in lore the steps go, you got to ascend from hell to get to limbo, and then once you're in limbo you have to do another good thing to ascend to real heaven? Like that's where it doesn't make sense, because it's like if you've redeemed yourself, if you've done something that's redeemed yourself, you should go to heaven. You shouldn't go to limbo, right? That's the main flaw that I'm sort of seeing in this sort of whole argument. Everything else though checks out. Well, I mean, except for this being a fucking this being Goetian. She's definitely not Goetian. She's a seraphim.
Aren't necessarily the best. But even beyond that, there could be a lot of story implications here because of this for a lot of the characters in heaven. While not every denomination of Christianity believes in limbo, a lot of them do believe in a similar idea known as purgatory. In Catholicism, purgatory is a state before people enter heaven where they are purified and purged of all of their sin. Before they can move on, they have to let go of their sinful attachments to make sure that nothing unclean...
See, okay. I would go with purgatory. With this definition of purgatory, yes, I'd say that is most likely purgatory then. It's purgatory where the angels, the people that were there originally, their mission is to help people make sure they are fully resolved of sin so they can truly ascend, and they haven't been doing their job properly because they haven't known what their job is. That's me going to make an assumption on what potentially could happen. Because looking at it from not a limbo perspective, but looking at it from a from this sort of perspective,
every denomination of Christianity believes in limbo. A lot of them do believe in a similar
It's not
idea.
called it's called redemption. My bad. It's called redemption. They are redeeming themselves. That's what it's referred to as in the show. It's not ascending. I just call it ascending because it's, you know, the easiest way to do it. But it is called redemption. But yeah, the description of purgatory fits better than the description of limbo. Just in terms of the Hazbin story and the way it's been framed with redemption and with hell and stuff like that, purgatory definitely works a lot better by that definition.
Known as purgatory. In Catholicism, purgatory is a state before people enter heaven where they are purified and purged of all of their sin. Before they can move on, they have to let go of their sinful attachments to make sure that nothing unclean actually enters heaven.
That would make sense because Serpentius still has an attachment to someone in hell. Okay, Now we're getting somewhere with the theory. It only took us 13 minutes.
That means that even if a worthy soul dies, before they can enter heaven, they have to go through a sort of individual judgment. Now, there isn't a lot we know about what specifically goes on in purgatory, but from what we do know, it's similar to limbo in that you don't need to be straight up evil to enter this temporary state. It's also not a place of punishment, but also isn't heaven itself. So, looking at Hazbin Hotel and how they take biblical concepts and twist them into their own new version with their own ideas, maybe heaven here is also taking this idea of finding individual judgment for these characters so they themselves can grow past their biggest flaws. And you know what? We actually have the perfect example of this in the show itself with Adam's right-hand woman, Lute. Yeah, so
Nah, all right. This entire theory has just been thrown out the window. This entire theory, because they showed this one frame. They showed this one frame here.
So they themselves can grow past.
Do you know who that is? That's St. Peter. They have clearly stated in the show that is St. Peter. St. Peter guards the gates to heaven. He is clearly St. Peter, and he guards the gates to heaven. He doesn't guard the gates to purgatory. He doesn't guard the gates to limbo. He guards the gates to heaven. And what he does is he lets these people in through the gates.
Their biggest flaws. And you know what? We actually have the perfect example of this in the show itself with Adam's right-hand woman, Lute. Yeah, so in case you need a refresher, Lute is one of Adam's angel exorcists, a supporting character in Season 1 who takes on a bit more of an important role in Season 2 after Adam's death. She also has an absolutely sick song that's been in my head for weeks at this point.
It is a really good song.
Anyway, if we look at Lute as a character, we see a lot of characteristics that seem like they need redemption, right? She's 100% on board with Adam's exorcist cleanse and wants to kill the evil souls in hell. She doesn't believe that they can be forgiven, and we even see her lack of compassion during Vaggie's origin story. She basically clips Vaggie's wings and leaves her for dead in hell for the great crime of showing mercy. That's very wrathful, isn't it? Then later, after Adam dies, Lute becomes hellbent on revenge. She has a higher opinion of herself than she should, believing that she should be in charge of the exorcists now that Adam is gone. So very envious of Abel when he gets the job, isn't it? And then when she's proven wrong by Serpentius arriving in heaven, proving that souls can be redeemed, that doesn't change her mind. She's too prideful. And of course, there is a hiccup in her plan. The powers that be don't appoint Lute as the leader of the exorcists and instead give the job to Abel, who is much kinder, much more compassionate and empathetic and willing.
Yeah, then the theory doesn't work unless it's a twist and it's a facade instead of an actual St. Peter. If they had done a facade like that in the past, then I'd be like, okay, cool. You know what I mean? Like, I accept that. But they haven't really done anything like that in the past to make it be like, make it seem like it's a twist that's like, you know, is somewhat believable and wasn't just like phoned in at the last second. You know what I mean? But that right there just dismantled this entire theory. Yeah, they did not do a full lore research session. I was gonna hit him with the St. Peter's at the gates in several scenes. St. Peter's at the gates in several scenes. St. Peter doesn't guard the gates to limbo or purgatory. All right.
Show mercy. He doesn't agree with Lute's violent methods, which we get to hear in this awesome song that I'm afraid to play for copyright reasons. But the lyrics go, "Let me stop you right there, there's no cause for attack. Swallow your pride, cast your bloodlust aside, you better fall back. Naturally this right there, there's no song that I'm passionate and empathetic and
wait, we're gonna play the song. It's not gonna be in the YouTube video, I'm gonna have to cut it out. But this song is so good. Like fuck, who is it? It's Abel. Abel song. You hear my heart.
What are you doing here? I'm here to finish what I started.
Let's get Emily and
No,
go.
how can you be so cold-hearted? Everybody dies if we don't do this. And so be it, don't persist. Or what? I'll take your other eye. Just try.
Loot, this isn't what we talked about.
Abel, please. We don't have time for this. Shut your mouth, abomination. Abel, you can stop this. Abel, enough.
Can't breathe, vision's getting blurry now. Nosebleed, never been so worried. How am I supposed to handle the pressure? It would have been better if I were anybody else. Dear Dad, tell me what you would have done. Too bad that I'm not your bravest son. Why'd I have to be big to lead? I wish that I could be anybody else. I'm supposed to do something. Am I supposed to do something? Do I run? Do I dare? Can I grant my own prayer? Get a grip, throw a pair. Let me stop you right there. There's no cause for attack. Swallow your pride, cast your bloodlust aside. Bitch, you better fall back.
Just that. Oh, chills, brother. Chills. Goosebumps and chills whenever I hear the bitch, you better fall back every time.
Willing to show mercy. He doesn't agree with Lut's violent methods, which we get to hear in this awesome song that I'm afraid to play for copyright reasons. But the lyrics go, let me stop you right there, there's no cause for attack. Swallow your pride, cast your bloodlust aside, you better fall back. Naturally, this infuriates Lut.
I like
her
the
entire
theory.
story arc has
I actually like that
so
theory.
upset.
I like that theory more than this entire video. I like the theory that their god is dead. I'm curious to find out what or who killed him, but like, oh, and what that means. But like, I have a strong feeling you might actually be right. God is either dead or he's like being lazy and he's gonna pull it off as, oh, this was all just a test. I was just testing you guys. Like, yeah, ooh. But I really like that theory. Either God is dead or he's a deadbeat father.
With revenge that she kind of loses her mind. But while she sees every hurdle thrown at her as a roadblock to overcome for her desires, really? Well, if this heaven is in reality a purgatory limbo, there are actually chances for her to let go of her sinful attachment to revenge. To let go of these deadly sins of wrath, pride, and envy. Every time Adam appears to Lut in her mind, it's an opportunity to let go. She's being tempted and tested, and yet she is unwilling to forgive.
This demon filth.
And
is
as well, you would think that if this was the case, where this is limbo and they can ascend to a further step above, you would think it would have happened by now.
to be trusted. He and his kind should all be dead, and I will make that happen.
And so she fails. Now, will all of this actually turn out to be the case? Will heaven be revealed to be the Helliverse's version of Limbo?
Nope.
Maybe. I mean, there's this super weird planet up in the sky that hasn't been explained at all. Maybe that's the real heaven. But the most important thing this theory does is build on the themes of the show, right? Hazbin Hotel is all about how people aren't necessarily who they appear to be on the surface. You might look at someone and see a promiscuous, lustful spider boy, or a drunk addicted to gambling, or a tiny cyclops obsessed with stabbing and cleaning things up. But all of us, we are more than what you can see at a first glance. The people born on the wrong side of the fence here, the folks who ended up in hell, aren't actually all that different than those who ended up in heaven. And if you want to be better, if you want to put in the work to become a better person, well, no one, no matter who you are or where you're from, is beyond redemption. Except maybe Vox. That guy sucks. But hey, that's just a theory. A film theory. And cut. Up next.
But yeah, make sure you go leave a like, go subscribe, all that fun stuff. I don't personally agree with the theory. I gave my takes and debunked it, I'd say, in my way. Based on what I know from the series and what I've seen and stuff like that. So I think way off. Just way off. But you know, that's always the fun of a theory. You never know where it's gonna go, you never know what's gonna happen. It's just sort of there, you know? Anyway, I hope y'all enjoyed it. If you did, please make sure you leave a like and subscribe. I go live every day except for Friday and Saturday, live every day at 5 p.m. EST. So hopefully I catch you on stream sometime. Anyway, peace out and have a good day.